Hey, it's Joe Soto, and welcome back to another edition of The Journey with Joe. And I'm super excited today to have Leo Robles, the man, the myth, the legend, extraordinaire real estate mogul, coach, leader, thought influencer. I mean, just an amazing, amazing guy. I'm super excited to have you here, Leo. It's the man, the myth, the legend for sure. I see you on Little Bodies on Instagram, and now I got the whole body. Look at you,
I'm
sexy.
right here in real life, man.
In real life.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I love it. Bringing the energy, bringing the
Yeah.
love. We had a really good call yesterday, and just super excited for you to share your journey.
Thank you, man. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Any way that I can contribute and continue to share a message that might resonate with someone. And, you know, I love your intention behind it, right? Which is to do just that, right? To empower people, to really get them, you know, kind of going in the right direction, or maybe if they're in a situation where it's not really kind of working out, right? Just to give them some hope and some inspiration, like, hey, you're on the right track. This is kind of part of the process. I always tell everybody, no matter what they're going through, it's part of, like, this one day, it's going to be part of your motivational story. So don't worry about it. It's just one page out of the book.
Yeah, it's so true. And as I was doing some research and some recon on you, right, I was like, I dug deep.
I know. I was like, dude.
I dug deep into the crates, and and it was funny. You said a lot of what I believe in my heart, right? Is there's no overnight success, because some of those videos and vlogs and stuff, like, they go back 6 years.
Yeah.
And as I told you, it's like Gary Vee was the only one talking vlogs back then, right? Gary Vee and Leo.
Yeah.
That was it, you
Yes.
know, but you were out there and you were doing it, and you were just, you know, really trying to empower other people. And so my first question to you is, when did that become your goal, or when did that become your focus, right? Because I think inherently we tend to be more selfish than selfless.
Yes.
But I look at you and I see somebody who's totally selfless, right?
Yes.
Like, you give a lot of yourself to the world. And that is not a quality a lot of people have. So, you know, I went back 6 years on video, but I'm sure it started before that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a great question. And it did start off, I think, a lot. It started off a lot sooner before then, before I started to actually document it. I really do believe, though, that everybody does have it, that everybody ultimately does want to give. I think everybody does want to contribute in some way. They're just conditioned otherwise, right? We're conditioned throughout life, and things happen, and through the conditioning process of going through school and you know, just being a kid and being a teenager, and then being around environments, being around people, you start to, you know, your identity starts to take a shape that is going to be resilient to the environment, right? So I think ultimately everybody's looking for connection. Everybody's looking to serve and contribute. So I've always had it within my heart, but I wasn't expressing it. I wasn't expressing it into the world. I started to really start to express it more when I started to develop myself, and actually, it was kind of like a mini wake-up call for me. And I mean, I had so many wake-up calls, but I mean, I guess one of the earlier ones was, you know, just losing car repossessions, foreclosure, just going and losing a ton of money, and losing myself along the way a little bit, and kind of rebuilding it. That was like my first wake-up call that I started to see, like, all right, you know what, I tried to do it my way and it didn't work. And I'm like, I have to do it a different way. And that led me to just start to focus on me first. Cause I do definitely think you have to focus on yourself so you can develop yourself. Right.
Yeah.
But when I really started to, like, what was like the one moment that really kind of got me to think, like, hey, I want to be a contributor to other people. It was the passing of my mentor that, you know, his name was Harold, and he's the one that really taught me the business and really gave me structure, and he changed my life. Without Harold, I wouldn't be here.
Oh, wow.
Talking to you. So when he suddenly passed away, that was a moment of, wow, like, somebody that I admire so much, that did so much for me, suddenly passed away. But what I got was like, wow, I still have his teachings and who I am because of what he did for me. So I wanted to then kind of, like, that awoke in a desire. I'm like, I want to do what Harold did for me.
That lit the fire.
Yeah, that lit the fire. That was like the initial thing. Like, I want to do this for other people.
Wow. That's really cool, because a lot of people, most people take it the other way, right? Like, that'll shut you down. and maybe change your trajectory in a different way, but he sounds like he built you up and
Yep.
gave you some tools that you would take with you forward, right?
Yes.
And that's a big part. Like for me growing up, I didn't have a mentor like that, right? My dad wasn't in my life. My mom was working 24/7 to provide. And so I think in life you get those people who change the trajectory of your life. Right?
Exactly.
And that's a lot of the reason why I'm doing this, because I think that there's people out there who need to hear from a Leo and realize bankrupt, repo, like, damn, I thought that was just me.
Yeah, evicted 6 times. I mean,
6?
Yeah, 6 times. Yeah.
Who rented to you the 6th time?
Well, people that were in the same position, right? They were also in foreclosure.
Yeah.
So every time that they would rent the house to us, they were in foreclosure, so they would lose the house like a month or 2 later.
Oh, wow.
So we were renting homes that were in foreclosure, so that's why we were getting evicted. It wasn't because we weren't paying, it was because
they were losing the house.
They were losing the house.
Was that like 07, 08 back that time?
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy.
That was during the time. So it was 6, 7 times that we had to pick up, leave, pick up, move, pick up, move, pick up, move.
Holy cow.
During that time. I couldn't even keep my cell phone on, right?
Wow.
And interesting enough, after about a year of kind of just being in that massive like pity party and like feeling bad for myself and like really kind of just giving up, I was working construction because that's what I had done since I was 14 years old. And that's when I stopped at a Remax office. I met Harold and I had a conversation with him, and he gave me inspiration in the business, but also inspired me to believe in me again.
Okay.
And that's how I started in real estate again. He gave me like a little kickstart again, right?
Yeah.
And
I saw a video. I think you posted something about you were going to get out of the industry.
Yeah.
And you got a loan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He lent me $1,000 4 months into me because I was following all of his instructions. He said, go around the office and ask anybody what you could do to help them. Did that. One of the guys said, I have open houses for you to do. Did that every day. Obsessed about it.
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Did it every single day. And 4 months into it, I literally was running out of gas. Like I didn't have any more money.
Damn.
To literally put gas. My cell phone was, getting disconnected, and I was on my last extension. And I went to him and I said, hey man, I want to thank you for everything you're doing for me, but I can't keep going. I said, it's not because I don't have the desire. I said, I don't have no more money. I said, and I'm out. He said, well, if I let you borrow some money, would that help you? I'm like, well, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So he lent me $1,000, and that, lasted.
And you had no idea how you were going to pay him back that $1,000, right? It was just like, here's $1,000.
I just knew I was going to continue to do what he was telling me. Right. So I'm like, I had faith, and I'm like, okay, well, I didn't have the money or the means, but I'm like, I'm going to close a deal and I'm going to pay him back.
Yeah.
So 2 months later, I did close my first transaction. And Remax, charges fees every month. So I had 6 months of fees, and then that $1,000. So my net was $234. My first check.
Damn.
This was 2009.
Wow.
Yeah, 2009. But I was out now positive $234. I had paid him back.
Transaction under your belt.
Yeah, and I'm good. And then from there, I became Rookie of the Year. And after that, did 20 plus sales my next year. Then I doubled up and I went to close to 40 transactions, and then 70 something ish transactions. And then next year, 90. The next year did 100. The next year, 120. The next year did 150. So it just completely turned around.
Wow.
From there. But I just had I just made it an obsession, like, kind of like the desire to like the breathe, right? We don't even have to think about it. We breathe every day. You were obsessed. I was obsessed that much.
Yeah.
Like, I am going to make this happen. Like, just as bad as I want to breathe, kind of like Eric Thomas, what he says, right? Like, when you want to succeed, as bad as you want to breathe. Like, that resonates so much. It's so true. That's when. And
so many people compare this market to that market.
Yeah.
And I think it's like not even close. No. Like, I remember I worked for 3 banks that got shut down by the FDIC.
Yeah.
Right. Like back to back to back. And that was like the low of the low. I look at this market and I'm like, it just takes the activity.
Yeah.
Right. So I know that you do a lot of activity, right? Like I do a lot of calls, but I'm sure you blow me out, right? You're a prospecting machine.
All the time. Yeah. All the time. That never goes away.
Never goes away. Right. But what you said was interesting because you were obsessed, did open houses every day. So not just like Saturdays.
Yeah. No, not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like every day. I did it every day. Well, my rule of like the promise that I made to me was if I don't have an appointment, I'm going to be at an open house.
Yeah.
And then I would do my prospecting from the open house. I would, work from there. I would make my calls from there. I would knock doors from there. I would follow up from there. So I just used the open house as my
There's
office.
your office.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. That's powerful
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because you knew what you had to do, and that was a way better place to do the activity than sitting in a box or a cubicle or talking to other agents. You wanted to find motivated buyers and sellers.
That was the only, and that was what my mentor told me. Sell a house today. Sell a house. Your only intention every day is to sell a house, right? So talk to buyers, talk to sellers, negotiate contracts. Those are only 3 jobs. So how are you going to do that today?
Yep. So as you started to grow and sell more houses, right? You had to hire a team, build a team.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
In the beginning, I kicked and screamed. I didn't want to do it. I didn't
control, right?
Control. I had full control. I was doing everything myself, and I got myself up to 80 transactions before I hired an assistant.
What?
But Harold literally came to my door and was like, dude, I'm getting calls from the other agents. You're not sending them disclosures, and you're closing an escrow in like 5 days.
Oh, damn.
So I was that guy, at times in transactions.
Yeah, that's an insane amount of transactions.
Right. So I was in the office from 7:30 a.m. all the way to midnight every day. So I had no life, like other than real estate. But I started to succeed. Right. Again, I started making a lot of money.
Yep.
So it was working for me financially. Everything else was not out of balance for sure. But I financially started to succeed. I hired my first assistant because of it was a need.
Yeah.
Like a massive need. And once I hired my assistant, I let go of some control. 2 weeks later, I started to see how insane that was of me doing that. Right. I had
crazy stuff. Right.
I had to give somebody else and I contributed to someone else, gave them a job, made their lives better, and then my business got better, and then I can focus on doing more of what I
like to do.
Yeah,
right. You're
exactly.
not doing the paper pushing, the disclosures,
all of that stuff. Yeah, exactly.
All of that.
Yeah,
ridiculous things that we pay that we do. Right. We don't know any better, and then you realize, damn, I was doing that all this time, and that's not the highest and best use of your time. Right.
It's just not. Yeah.
You need to be in scoring position.
Exactly. Right? We got to be shooting all the time. And then I staffed from there somebody to just pick up calls because I was getting a lot of inbound calls from all the listings that I had. And I also do advertisements. So I would get a bunch of calls every day. So I just hired somebody to just pick up the phone and schedule appointments.
Oh, wow.
Because I had a lot of inbound, a ton of inbound.
Damn.
So that's what I did in the beginning. I just staffed this team around me. And then when my mentor passed, I went to Keller and I started to now build a team, which is where you see the blogs.
Yes.
That's where I started. So that's where I started to build a team and start to now
document it and stuff.
Document it and also go into, okay, now I want to really become a leader.
Yes.
And really do it to help other people. But I also, one of the things that I understood after some time was that being an independent producer and becoming a leader are 2 separate conversations.
Totally.
Massively different.
Massively different. A different hat you got to wear, different mind shift, right? Like
100%.
The way you show up every day is different.
Has to be selfless, like you said, right?
Yeah.
Has to be selfless. Like you cannot operate like you're operating in your own, like as an operator.
Yep.
You have to operate a little bit different, a lot different. Right?
You have to change your motivation. You have to change what drives you. I mean, because you're not doing it for your own. I think in sales, like we crave the sale. Right? Like I'm sure in the beginning when you were trying to get doing 70, 80, 100, like you're like, I want that signature. I want that signature. My goal today is to get signatures, right? I'm going to get some contracts and we're going to get escrows.
Yep.
And then when you become the team leader, it's like, all right, I have to help that person get it. And you don't want to say it, so I'll say it. But sometimes you're helping those people who might not have the same skills that you have.
Learned that. I learned that.
Like, and so that's a challenge too.
That was one of the biggest breakthroughs that I had with my leadership. It was about really really getting it that not everybody thought like me.
It's weird, right? I think the same. I feel like everybody should think like me. I'm like, what do you mean?
You don't think like you're not personally responsible for you, and you're not like, you don't want this. Like, I figured out the hard way. I was training a lot of people and investing time in a lot of people, and I started to see some people just didn't want it. And again, nothing bad or wrong, but it's just
to each their own.
Each their own, right?
But
Like
yeah, you're definitely wired differently than most.
much
Right.
different. Yeah.
And you're willing to do whatever it takes,
WIT.
whatever means, whatever means possible. Like, I'm just going to get there because that's my goal. And that's what I set my intentions and my plans to. And,
Mm-hmm.
and just most people aren't. That's why most people would rather do the 9 to 5.
Yep.
Right. I want to come in, I want to punch a clock, and I want to be done. And so you get people who get into real estate for flexibility.
Yeah. No.
There's no flexibility in real estate.
Yeah. No.
Not if you want to be good at it.
Yeah. No. You have to be fully committed. I mean, it has to be your
Yes.
passion. It has to be like, this is what I really want to do. And obviously, different people can play it at different levels, right? But I think if you're playing anything, you should do it at the highest level and commit to mastery, not dabble.
Yeah.
Right. Like Tony Robbins, like, that's something I learned from him, early on. And I read his book, Unlimited Power. It's just, you're committed to mastery with what you do.
Yeah.
That really fundamentally shifted my mindset. And the other thing is that as I started to progress as a leader, I started to also invest more in myself. I started going to Tony Robbins seminars. I started from there, found a seminar called Landmark that made a big difference in my life. And that course really helped me to get myself out of the way.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that as far as that being one of those, like,
Yeah.
totally changed the way you look at yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then how you
I lead.
how you do business, right?
Yeah.
How you and leadership, I think, isn't just work, right? It's your relationships.
Mhm.
It's, for me, it's my kids, right? It's how you interact with all of the people in your life.
Yep.
And I don't think
100%.
being a leader is just like, I walk into the doors of this office and it's the Soto team and it's like, let me put my leadership hat
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. No.
Right. It's like, if I'm at an event, if I go to an office, right? If I go
Mhm.
talk to a prospect, if I'm talking to my kids, my in-laws, like,
Mm-hmm.
all of that has to be ingrained in you.
Yeah. Embodied.
Yeah.
Embodied. Like you become an embodiment of it. That's what you're kind of pointing to, right? It's
Yeah.
not just like, oh yeah, you're just gonna, you're gonna just use it here. No, you're everywhere that way.
Yeah, for sure. So you talked about coaching. I'm a big believer everybody needs a coach,
Mhm.
right? So you said Tony Robbins. Landmark was the first place you went to? Was Landmark one of the first?
No, it was Tony Robbins seminars.
Yeah.
Did Unleash the Power Within. Did the little firewalk and all that good stuff.
Yep. I'm waiting to go to a live one.
bro.
I haven't been to a live one. I see all the Zoom ones. I'm like, nope, I'm going
It's
in
game
person.
changer. It's game changer. Yeah, and the Zoom ones are great.
Yeah.
I mean, but like you, and I know that it's not about you walking on coals, right? Because you do the firewalk at the end.
Yeah.
But that firewalk rewired my brain to see things different, right? Because like for a normal situation, walking on hot coals is not something you want to do ever, right?
Yeah.
You never want to do that. But having the entire day prepare us for the fact that, hey, we're going to walk on coals. You're not going to get burned. You're going to be able to walk through it, and we're going to train your mind, and then actually walking on coals, not getting burnt, and actually, being on the other side and saying like, wow, if I can do that, I can wire my brain to do that. What else can I wire my brain to do?
Mm-hmm. The brain is the strongest muscle,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, I always say that everything that happens in our life starts between the ears.
Yep.
Right. And that's where I was the biggest mess for a long time.
Yep.
And I think you mentioned, right, like just getting that help and working on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I know you do affirmations all the time, right? I
Yep.
see I found a video. It was like 7 years old. I'm like, this dude's been doing affirmations.
Yeah. Before then,
7
I was
years.
doing it with my car, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, people think, right, like, oh, it's just a thing.
It's just a new thing.
No, it's not a new thing
No,
at
it's
all,
not. It's
right?
not.
But I think a lot of, especially Latino males,
Yeah.
right? We don't
Mhm.
like to ask for help.
Yep.
We feel like we got it all figured out. Kind of like you
Mhm.
said, I had the
Mhm.
same thing, right? I had it all figured out, and then I fell on my face.
Yep.
Was in a ton of debt, and then got out of it. But
Mhm.
I got help to get out of it.
Yes.
So what do you do to work on it? Like, let's say day to day morning routine. What does that look like for you?
Yeah. So morning routine is just first thing I do is just get out, walk my dog. That's to kind of like get the blood flowing.
What kind of dog is it?
It's a Frenchie.
Oh,
Her,
what's it-
her
what's-
name is Love. Yeah.
Love.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Little
yeah.
Frenchie Love.
Yeah, exactly. She's a very interesting character.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought Frenchies were a little more chill. She has a ton of energy.
Oh, really?
A ton of energy.
I thought they were chill too.
Yeah, she has a ton of energy.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. So you got to get her out on her walk in the
Yeah.
morning.
So that's how I start my day. And then I just, from there, get back. I usually try to go and do something. I either get the Peloton, I go hit the stairs, I go to a hike. I go to the gym. I kind of alternate it, but I do something physical, get my blood flowing.
Yep.
From there, I and during my workout, I'm listening to a podcast, listening to, a book, and learning and feeding my mind, or a YouTube video like Eric
Yep.
Thomas or Les Brown or anybody. I could just
Nice.
type in motivation. I listen to something. Once I get back, I do a gratitude exercise. I just start declaring everything I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the ability to see. I'm grateful for the ability to hear. I'm grateful for the ability to be here, right?
Yeah.
And have freedom. So I start to acknowledge all this stuff that I normally don't think about. And then I just kind of review my day, look at my calendar. Okay, what I got ahead of me? What's my intention? What I really want to get out of today? And that's kind of like how I kick off my day.
Yeah.
And give or take. Sometimes I do meditation, sometimes I don't, but I try to incorporate meditation at least once a day.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen in the morning.
No.
And sometimes it happens like midday or in the afternoon, but that also attributes to, getting me centered and focused and grounded in a big way. But just continuously, like when you make a commitment to develop yourself, I think it's everything becomes about that, right? And like I start picking up things just by talking to people and walking and
listening, and what you listen to is very important. And I love the gratitude stuff, right? Because I think we live in a world of negativity. I told you that, right?
Mhm.
Like there's so much negative stuff that comes at you all the time, but yet there's so much to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Right. Every single day. If you probably didn't go into our little kitchen, but in our kitchen, I have all my employees write 100 things.
Oh,
they're
dude, I
grateful
love
for.
it. I saw all the affirmations everywhere.
Right? Yeah.
I love it.
And so it's like, it's super important because this business will chew you up and spit you out.
Yep.
And it's gonna, like, every day I get chewed up and spit out, right? You deal with a lot of rejection, calling
Yep.
people, talking to people all the time. So in order to power it through that, the mind has to be very focused on all of the goodness.
Yep.
Right. And
all the goodness.
Those little moments, that's just a blip in the radar.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. It's part of the process.
Yeah.
Part of the process. I've got to the point where I don't take anything personal. It's never about me.
Nope.
Never take it. So that's a good rule of thumb. Like, never take anything personal because it's not about you, right? Whenever you get any negativity, it's not about you. People are reflecting back their internal occurring of reality. That's what they're reflecting back.
Yeah, I struggle with that, man, because people give that, and I'm like, man, it must really suck to live like that.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't do that. You know, I can't treat people like that, or I can't give that off to others because, man, I don't want to live my life that way.
Yeah.
So I
100%.
I let it roll off my back.
Yeah, you got to. And also kind of like, if you go back to like, what is, like, it appears that there's a lot of negativity because the things that are being broadcasted are negative, right?
Totally.
So, but we're not being broadcasted everything that's happening. We're not getting broadcasting all the goodness. I mean, we're not getting broadcasted, but I still participate in courses through Landmark, and like I said, I'm always developing myself. So there was actually an exercise that we just did this last weekend, and we're actually looking at numbers and stats and just talking about, where we're at as a human civilization, as far as like, is it better? Is it worse? Is it like, are things getting good or what is it? Based on the stats and numbers, we are in the most opportunistic time to be alive. Ooh. We are in the best time to be alive, and that shows with the amount of people that are dying from diseases, from just the rights that we have, all of the things that even though we're being shown like the things that are not working, there's a ton of things that are working. So there's never been a better time to be alive than now.
Yep. I like it. Gary Vee always, he said something one time. He's like, you could have been an ant, right? Like, you're a human.
Yeah.
You got so many opportunities. You can do anything that you set your mind to. And it's just amazing. So
there are a tree.
Yeah.
Could have
been a tree.
Could have been a tree. Got no opportunity to move, like no decide. There every day.
You could have just been the tree stuck, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. You said something recently, maybe it was yesterday or today, but you said 2 most powerful words.
I am. Yeah.
I am. Why is that?
Well, I think that's connected. you can talk about religion or not religion. I mean, I am, right. I think that's the name of God, and
Yeah.
it's and God represents love, and that's what I think it represents. So whatever you attach to I am, it bring life to it. So I am powerful. I am, you could fill in the blank.
Strong, smart, funny. Yeah.
But most people have affirmations, and I will say this too. A lot of people don't think they use affirmations, but everybody does.
Yeah.
Every single person uses affirmations. The constant dialogue,
100%.
the constant thing that people
I
keep
used to
saying.
be like in the gutter, man.
Yeah.
I would tell myself such bad stuff. I
Yes.
still do sometimes, right? But it would be so. Then all that
We're all
dialogue,
guilty of it, bro.
dude, all that dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
That's you. That's the I am negativity, right? You're giving yourself the bad stuff.
Oh, like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. Why did I do that?
Yeah.
Well, you just declared, like, and you just told every single cell in your body, your intelligence were unlimited, and you just literally you just like made it really small. Again, because we don't understand what we're doing, right? And we don't understand. We just don't understand. So I am, if you really want to create something newly, like, start to focus on attaching like more powerful words to it. The I am, right? And that's the word that we use that every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we do goal setting. I do my team. We do goals, and it's I will. I will lose 20 pounds. I will exercise. I will go on a vacation. I will, because I think we're just so nonchalant about things, right? Like, oh yeah, my plan is to, right? But you have to have that intention,
yeah.
right? Otherwise, you're not going to hit it. You're not going to get.
Yeah, it's a map.
Yeah, totally.
That's why I asked you right before this conversation, right? It was like, what's the intention? I said, what do we want to leave people with?
Yeah.
Right? Because it's an intention. It's like, it's our map. This is what we want to deliver. I think I do that with everything. Before I pick up the phone, before I meet with somebody, I'm always like, what's the intention? What's the intention? What's the intention? And if you live your life that way, you'll start to see things show up differently. People will show up differently. Situations will turn out differently.
Yeah.
Because of your intention.
Because you show up differently.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
You're listening to it differently.
You're coming into it with your objective, as opposed to somebody else's objective.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if you're going into an open house, for example, right? I mean, we're in real estate. So if you're saying you're just walking in there and you're like, well, let's see how this goes. Let's see what happens. Like, okay, that's your intention.
Yeah.
If your intention is, I'm going to go to this open house and I am going to attract amazing clients, and every conversation that I have is going to be aligned with purpose, and it's going to be aligned with value, and it's going to be for the highest and best of everyone involved, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a different intention than just
totally.
saying, it's much different.
Yeah, and you're just gonna hit it head on, right? As opposed to just winging it or not getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
Which if you're gonna do that, just stay home.
Exactly.
Right? Don't show up. If you're gonna half-ass it, don't show up.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right? Like that's my attitude.
Yeah. I think and I think a lot of people are just not aware, right? Like nobody's giving us our operating system for navigating through life, where we are all being taught, certain tools like language and math, and we're being taught like tools, but nobody's giving us tools typically to how to actually show up and how to live a joyous life. Like we're not talking about that typically. So I think that's why it's really cool that, you're doing something like this, and, just continue to pour stuff out that can share people like, hey, there's a different way of showing up.
Yeah.
Like there's tools out there. There's
for sure. And I think, again, the way I grew up in Brooklyn, small, small family. We didn't talk about stuff like this. And it was a lot of negativity, and I mean it in a nice way, right? But if it was like, I was going to buy a house and it was like, pero mijo, why are you going to buy a house? That's you're going to have a high electric bill, right? Like it was whatever. Yeah. And so just changing that thinking is huge. And there's a lot of people who don't have anybody to show them that way. And that was the game changer for me, right? When I got into coaching and I found people who did it at a high level and who had success and had different outlooks, it was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, I met my people.
Yep.
Right. I was like, this is what God's been wanting to put these people in my life forever.
Yes.
You know? And
Yes.
so it was amazing for me just to find that path, you know?
Yeah. And you get like, wow, this coach is giving me this information and he's not massively different than I am. He's just making different choices, right? He's
yes.
right. So you relate, you're like, wow, like, well, that person could do it. I could totally do
I
it.
could do it too.
Yeah, I could do
And then
it.
sometimes you look over, you're like, I know I'm way better than that person.
Yeah, like what the,
How
how are you doing that? Right, exactly.
That's totally funny. Yeah, it's so true.
It is.
So get back to business. So you built the team, and you did that, and then you made a move over to EXP. How many years ago?
Yeah, 4 years ago.
4 years ago, and there was hardly anybody over there, but you made a big jump.
Yeah.
Put a little bet on yourself, right?
Totally.
Totally different company, different model and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And talk to me about that journey.
Yeah.
Because I look and I feel like there's been a couple of different journeys that you've had.
Yeah.
Right? Different challenges along the way, different hats that you've had to wear.
Yep.
But all in growth, and we'll talk about growth as
exactly. Well. Yeah. The intention overarching has always been to serve and to contribute and to build a global organization. That was one of the things that I was attracted to me from my previous company was, hey, I can have the ability to build something globally, and I can do a global impact. That's what I really liked about it.
Yeah.
So just started to learn everything about it. 4 years into it, even had a leadership position for that company. I honestly thought that I was going to continue that path. I met some people that introduced me to this company called the XP, and I was like, well, I never heard about it.
Yeah. Seems
a little too good to be true, to be honest. I mean, I honestly wanted to pick it apart for a friend in the beginning.
Oh, wow.
I was going to tell her like that was a terrible idea and that she shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But when I looked at it, I saw that it was great.
Yeah.
The platform made a lot of sense, and it got me curious to learn, right? Because the most important thing for me, like you said, with coaching, it's about being around the best people, being around the right people. So I saw that the platform made a lot of sense. I saw that the people were the people that I wanted to be around, that I could learn from.
Yep.
Made a leap 4 years ago, and I didn't know if it was going to work. But again, I did it because I saw that it was a great opportunity for me to fulfill the vision of me building that global organization. And that's all I did. I mean, it was less than 6,000 agents 4 years ago. We're currently at 87,000 plus now.
Holy jeez.
And, just under
6,000 agents nationwide, globally.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah, that's when
there was not a lot at all.
Yeah, it was pretty small.
Yeah.
Pretty small. And so now, I mean, think about 87,000, right? And
jeez.
Just under my leadership, I have almost 2,000 agents under my leadership in 27 states and 7 countries right now.
7 countries? That's cool.
Spain is one of my biggest countries. Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, so I'm getting paid commissions and coaching people out there from that I met online, right? I mean, I've never even been out there physically, and online.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah,
that's
incredible.
That's incredible. I mean, it shows you that the world is big, but it's really small in some cases, right? You can reach so many people. Instantly. Right? Like that's the world we live in. And I think we learned that a lot through the pandemic.
Yep.
Was get on a Zoom, hop on a meeting, right? Like you had a meeting earlier, boom, you did it right there. Come in here, do this, hop in the next meeting.
Yep. It's efficient.
It's efficient. Yeah. You can definitely, and I love seeing people because you can feel their emotions, right?
Yep.
They can feel your passion and whatnot. So that really, really helps. And so you come along. So now you're coaching people in other countries. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's on. I'm living what I've always wanted to do. Right. Like, so this is,
yeah.
So when I started the journey of leadership, like this is ultimately what I wanted to do.
Really?
Like, so I'm now living that phase. Right. And, just like right now, my mission is just to continue to expand that, continue to partner with the best people that I can possibly partner with, and continue to bring more value to the real estate community and beyond. Right.
Do you find that there's different struggles with the agent in Spain versus the agent in the U.S., or are we all fighting the same fight regardless of the continent?
Dude, we're fighting the same fight.
Really?
It's interesting, right? You would think that they're doing it so different out there. They're not. The only thing is that their market is delayed about 6 months. So whatever's happening here is it's going to happen there like 6 months later.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they're always asking me, so what's going on in your market? I'm like, it's like, yeah, because usually whatever happens there, it happens to us 6 months.
Coming after.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's super interesting.
Yeah.
And I think it's it's sales, it's relationships, right? Like I feel like real estate is a lot of relationships, right?
Yep.
It's a relationship business, it's a communication business. And so whether you're selling in Spain or Puerto Rico or New York or Florida, right? Like you have to make contacts, you have to have good relationships,
Yep.
right? With lots of people,
Hmm.
and then your business will come,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like
You focus
that's
on bringing value to those relationships.
for
That's
sure.
it.
Yeah. And I feel like it doesn't matter where you're at, right? That's like 101, but I think a lot of people miss it. I think they focus on getting a sale.
The gain. Yeah. Like, oh, boom, I want to get this. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily like that. That's not how you win long term. You might win once.
Yeah.
You might win twice, but eventually it's going to catch up to you, right?
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and it's just never going to work.
You're going to run out of fuel doing it that way.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing it for a purpose that, you're doing it from your heart.
No.
And when you're operating in that way, then also people will eventually see it. And, it's just, again, it's not a good place to come from. I understand that the industry attracts a lot of people like myself in the beginning. I was attracted to it because of the money.
Yeah.
I wanted to make money, but it's not about that. It's the moment that you focus on service and focusing on how you can serve the human in front of you and bring them a lot of value and be authentic and generous with them, then, that may lead to a sale now or later or never. Who knows?
Yeah.
But they can refer you and say that person was honest. That person gave me great value, great information. You know what? I didn't do business with them, but man, like you should call this person. They're really honest.
For sure.
Everybody knows their stuff, especially with Google, man. Like they're just testing you.
Yeah, right. Uncle Google or Auntie Alexa. All
Yeah,
that
they're just
stuff.
confirming. Like, does this person really know what they're talking about?
Yeah.
They're not really,
No.
they're not navigating blind like they were in the past, right? Like even a lot of us, like in the brokerage world, like with the first brokerage I signed up with, 17 years ago, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna go to this company and like hopefully they hire me. I didn't even know that you had to interview brokerages and see what their value prop was.
Yeah, you just went to the first one.
I'm like, is it okay? He's like, can I work out of here? He's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
just
come on in.
Yeah, come on in. Like
Yeah.
everybody's welcome. So
Everybody can join. Everybody can come on in. But I think culture is more important now than ever.
yes.
Right. I feel like this market, because for 2 years it was easy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like everybody wanted to buy, everybody was motivated to sell. I think right now you're seeing the cream's going to rise to the top,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think the skilled are going to crush the people who role play, the people who
Yep.
are okay with the rejection, the people who just show up every single day
Mhm.
they're going to dominate.
Yeah.
Right. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who the fear of the market's going to paralyze them.
Yes.
Right. And, that's for me, I think that's a little bit good, right? There's a little bit less competition out there.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Like, I'm going to be part of the cream that rises to the top.
Of course.
So I don't care, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever, get 20% of them out of the business,
Exactly.
Exactly. So what are your thoughts as far as like this market right now and where we're at as far as the amount of work you have to put in to get worse results?
Yeah,
It
you got to
seems
do
like.
four times the amount of effort that you did last year to get the same amount of results, or just 4 times the amount of effort right now to get the same results that you did before. So, again, we're not in 2008, right? Like you
Not
said
at
earlier,
all.
we're not in that market. We just have to go to work. We have to know our stuff, know our numbers, know what sales are happening, know what the interest rates are doing, know what kind of programs are out there, become a resource, and find the people that need to buy, that need to sell.
Yeah.
And, people are going to succeed. But like you said, right now, it gives the opportunity for the people that are really professional and they're committed to their craft, they're committed to mastery, to really rise to the top, because there's less people looking for the business, and most people that were kind of dabbling are out of the business.
Yep. And
They're
I feel like it's a good opportunity for the young Leo who's young and hungry, who says, I'll do an open house every day.
Yep.
Right? Like that guy coming into the business or that girl coming crush.
Yeah, crush.
Right? They're coming in going, this is the greatest market ever.
Yeah.
And everybody else is going, dang.
Yeah, they were just spoiled by,
Yeah.
It was like, my phone is not ringing. Well, I'm like, the phone also has the ability to do outbound calls, not just inbound calls.
That's funny. I never heard that. Yeah, that's
kind of like
you could push those buttons and
you can
actually
push the
talk to somebody else.
Yeah, you could reach out. Like, so this is a contact sport. You have to reach out, right,
Totally.
to people. And I think as long as people can keep that mindset that I need to be accountable for myself, I need to invest in developing myself, I need to be educated as much as I possibly can, I need to be around the best environment, and I need to know what play to play right now, right? Because
Yeah.
there's different playbooks that you need to play at different times.
Yeah.
The playbook that is in the marketplace right now, it, like you said, it's going to be skills, role play, a lot of those things. I think there's a new playbook in the industry as well, and it's social media. I don't think a lot of people have that playbook, and we've done a pretty good job of putting that together.
Yeah.
So we have a really good program for that intention
Yep.
of really getting people the right tools, systems, mindset, and getting them structured so they can really thrive and monetize, utilizing the tools that we have today, like social media.
Yep. And they're the product, right? At the end of the day, XYZ agent, they're the product. They're the person. That's who the consumer buys from, right?
Yep.
They're like, I want to do business with Leo. I want to do business with Joaquin. I want to do business with whoever it is.
Yes.
Versus, saying they want to buy the company per se, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a little bit of the company. It's a lot of the person. So you do have to
Yeah.
help that person, like as a company, right? Like you're leading all of these agents. You have to build them up.
Yeah. Each person is their own brand.
Each person's their
Yeah.
own brand.
That's one of the things I've always done. I've always been Leo Robles as a brand everywhere that I am.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No matter what.
So it's funny because I worked for companies that didn't want that,
Yeah.
right?
Same.
And they want you to sell their company.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, well, what happens if that company kicks me out? And I've had it happen to me multiple times. And it's like, well, now you're SOL, Joe, but thank you for promoting my brand,
Yeah.
So I think you have to do both. I think real estate does a little bit better job of that than mortgage, right? I think mortgage is a little bit different, but I think it's just promoting yourself and being in an environment that empowers you to do that, right? Like I'm part of a branch in a group of offices, and we all carry each other up the mountain,
Mm-hmm.
right? Real estate, I feel like, can be kind of competitive and a little bit where people are, they'll step on your head to get themselves to the top of the mountain, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things I love about you is that you're always encouraging others, right? And you'll realize, look, there's thousands of deals out there.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of business.
There's a lot of business.
Yeah, a lot of business.
We don't have a market share problem,
Yeah.
right? Like if you look, there's probably not one agent in your sphere that's getting 25% of their market.
Mm-mm.
Not
Not
one.
one.
Right.
Not one,
So
yeah.
they probably, if they're really good, maybe they're getting 1%, 2 of their own little market. So there's business out there.
Dude, 7 days, 2.5 billion in sales in the last 7 days, and just we're looking at LA County, Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino, and I counted San Diego. If you don't count San Diego, that's 2.1 billion in the last 7 days.
That's crazy. But there's no deals, Leo.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah, no, that's
Look at the numbers.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So where do you? So I've seen kind of where you've been, right? Where do you see yourself? Let's say in the next 5 years.
5 years. So definitely leading a group in my intention is to be in every single state and every single country that EXP is in. So continue to grow the
Nice.
organization. Yeah. At this point,
Are you in Puerto Rico yet?
Puerto Rico, I have one agent.
Yeah,
one
all
agent.
right,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So if you need anybody in Puerto Rico, Spain, Panama, Colombia, the Dominican,
Nice.
yeah, we got it covered. Mexico as well.
So every state,
Yes.
every country.
Every state, every country, continue to move with the, continue to grow with the company. So 5 years, I would say
How
at
many
least
agents under you? And
50, at least 50,000.
Jesus,
50,000, yeah. 50,000 agents, yeah.
it's a lot of phone calls. You'll be
It's-
talking to a lot of people.
But
it's-
it's community
it's
based.
community
Like, so
based.
it's not me.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, right? It's not me. It's I have a giant army of people that are working like me,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without them, right? So we're all collaborating, we're all working together. So when I say these numbers, it's not just dependent on me; it's
Yeah.
dependent on everybody else.
Everybody.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
super cool.
Yeah.
So get to 50,000. Personal life, family life. You're gonna how many
Yeah.
more? How many more dogs? 7.
No, I think
One.
I'm good with one dog. Yeah,
You're like I'm good with.
I'm good with one dog. Yeah. So maybe 5 years having maybe 2-3 kids. That's definitely in the works. My girl and I have talked a lot about that. So probably in the next 5 years do that. Definitely. You said Puerto Rico twice, so I am going to have a house in Puerto Rico. That's one of my intentions as
Really?
well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
so-
born there. I was born in Moca, Puerto
Oh,
Rico.
okay. That's what
Yeah.
you kept saying. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
those
like,
are my people.
yeah, right on, man.
Yeah, those are my people.
Yeah, so I want to have a house there
Yeah.
for sure. Probably buy a house here in Orange County as well. Have that. And I don't know. I'm open, right? Like this is
Yeah.
like my one, like, yeah, developing family, continue to make impact. and I'm very in tune with my vision continues to morph, and I listen. I've learned to get myself out of the way. I have the overarching intention, and I'm also open to receiving miracles from God. If he says, boom, you got to move in this direction, that direction, I don't know where I'm going to be 100%, but I have an overarching intention.
Yeah. You said something really cool, where it was this version of yourself. Right. And I think through the journey of life, there's so many different versions of ourselves, right? Like I look back at 14-year-old me versus 20-year-old me versus 30-year-old versus 44-year-old. I mean,
they've
gotten better, I think, but there's been pros and cons. And so I think even if you're looking 5 or 10 years down the road, like that version of Leo is going to be different.
Yep.
Right. Different priorities, different wants, different needs. And so, but I think working on that and focusing on that is really powerful, right? And I think you do a great job of working on it yourself, but also educating others about it. And that's what I really love. That's what I respect about you, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
And I'm super grateful for your time, for you spending a little bit of time with us. We'll get things wrapped up here, but again, Leo Robles is the man. Really good guy. If you're not following him, it's I am Leo Robles. I am Leo Robles. None of those fake accounts that are out there.
I know. There's a couple of them.
They need to get you a blue check mark or something.
I'm not selling crypto.
You're not selling crypto.
Real estate.
Yeah, he does not want your social security number.
None of it.
But Leo is the man, and you should definitely give him a follow and take a look at his stuff, man, because he will make you a better person than you are today.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for doing this.
Yep. Cool, man.
All right.
Thanks a bunch.